Well, special welcome back to Prime Morning and the Still News Flash. We're going to get into lots of the issues that have happened, particularly the Akwatia by-election, which, of course, the NDC have snatched from the MPP. I want to say a very big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise, who are the sponsors of the News Flash segment. That's where you get the best mobile phones, the best laptops, and most of your appliances. Just head to any of the shops of Franco Trading Enterprise in and around the country, and you have any mobile phone at all you want, any laptop you want, and of course, very affordable, extremely affordable. So it's a new month, and maybe you haven't given out the new month gift yet, head to Franco Trading Enterprise, and of course, you can make sure that is sorted, all right? My producers have done, producer Martin just got us some Franco tablets a few days ago, so it's on course. It's on course. Anyway, we want to get into the newspapers at this point and see what has been captured in it. I start with the Ghanaian Times, and on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, I've got Akwatia license from NACOC only, public cautioned. So that's the call by Brigadier General Maxwell Obubamante, the NACOC boss, and he's, telling everyone who wants to deal in the use of weed for, medical purposes, etc. If you want to use it in a regulated manner, you need to acquire the license from NACOC before you do so. We know that you're allowed to use weed for medical purposes, and you need to acquire licenses before you use that from NACOC. Then also, you have the picture of President John Mahama on there. It says President lifts ban on sale of public lands. And you also have Ghana Water GWL Kwanyako headwork risk closure due to high turbidity. And B Power post 45.5 million profit in 2024. And Ghana tops global exporters of share in 2023. Also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Then, on the front page of the Independent newspaper, you've got Akwatia by-elections. NDC's Bernard Baidu snatches victory. Of course, we'll get into that. And then President Mahama lifts ban on sale of state lands. That's another major development there. And end the smear campaign against Sege MP. That's a call by one of the Queen Mothers. And Justice Sophia Akufu raises concerns over judiciary independence. She's been speaking following the removal of the Chief Justice. Then the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital set to establish first catheterization lab after 7 decades. So that's on the Independent newspaper. And then on the 24-hour newspaper, you've got the Ghana Standard Authority, GSA, freezes cocoa freight rates to support export competitiveness. And that story is also there. And you've got NDC's Bernard Baidu wins Akwatia by-election. Mahama orders audit of state lands, and remove Chief Justice cannot return to Supreme Court bench. Legal expert explains, and election figures in question. Razak Kojo-Opoku challenges Baumia supporters. A Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy Religious Affairs appoints advisory board. Then on the Chronicle newspaper, you've got 25-year-old illegally transfers 303,000 Ghana cedis from Stanbic Bank customer's account to his Momo account. Wow, that's some high-level fraudulent activity. And Akwatia by-election is over after threats and intimidations. Then police arrest 8 suspected illegal miners at Pachi number 1. It's also there on the front page of the Chronicle newspaper. And CJ's removal branded Ghana's Day of Shame. That's the front page of the Ghanaian Publisher. And Chief Justice's removal, Sophia Akufu, calls process a rigmarole. That's the former Chief Justice there. And Mahama left ban on state land. So those are the stories leading the newspapers there, and you get them, you can get to see what's been captured as far as the contents are concerned. But we're going to get into our discussion now. And at the moment, in studio with me, I've got Honorable Fuseni Donko, his Deputy Director of Operations at NSA. Is in studio at the moment, but we'll also be joined by MPP's Benjamin Gyewu Appiah, and also by Musa Dankwa, the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, and also understand we are already joined by Nathaniel Afa, who is one of the analyst with Sanity Poll, Sanity Africa Poll, and Musa Dankwa Global Info Analytics and Sanity Africa Poll. They predicted NDC's victory. So we'll get to them very shortly to appreciate what informed that prediction and what lessons we can learn from, especially the MPP can learn from this election. But let me say, Honorable Husseini, good morning. Good to have you.
Great to be here.
You're all full of smiles.
Oh, God is good.
It was a really good turnout for you yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the people of Akwatia have actually demonstrated once again that they are one of the few constituencies when it comes to an MP position, they know exactly what they want.
You
can't take that away from them.
Well, we'll get into it more, but it was a very interesting election yesterday. Very interesting. There were so many things that unfolded there, and we'll get into the details. But let me touch base with Nathaniel Alpha, who is one of the analysts at Sanity Africa Poll, for a quick thought on what informed their predictions that NDC was going to win it, and what lessons, particularly the MPP, can learn from it to improve their fortunes in Ghana's electoral system. Nathaniel, thank you very much for joining us this morning. I hope you can hear me clearly. First of all, so tell us about Sanity Africa Poll and exactly what informed your prediction that the NDC was going to win it at the time you put it up.
Well, thank you very much, Zach Musba. Yes, my name is Nathaniel Alpha. Point of correction, I'm the executive director for Sanity Africa. And Sanity Africa has a pool of experts and researchers in country and out country. We contract to engage in various research work and opinion polls for our organization. We have been at the heart of doing a lot of market entry research for organizations and brands for the past few years. Our decision the decision by management for us to make public some of our public risks or political risk assessment is just our way of contributing to the public discourse about elections in Ghana. For Akwatia, we looked at the perception of voters and how they wanted to achieve in their constituency. The voters also look at the times they find themselves in and the issues of the capacity of the new patriotic candidate to deliver development for them. Again, if you look at the National Democratic Congress, they went through a process to elect their candidate for the by-elections. The new patriotic party more or less decided to settle on what they term as a popular candidate for the purposes of going into this contest. That's eventually the numbers show that wasn't the best of ideas they could have engaged on. And so for us, we continue to engage with voters. We continue to conduct our opinion poll through our experts of researchers, and then we put out our data at when we get them.
I mean, in terms of the exactitude of your results compared to the Global Info Analytics, in fact, they were very clear, 53%. And if you look at the numbers, it looks like Bernard garnered just around that number. I mean, what accounted for the marginal difference? Why couldn't you see that he was going to garner at least 53 or 54%?
So we predicted 52.3%. So as some people said, aka one pay. Okay, but for us, we kept a margin of error of plus or minus 3, which is to say that, 2 days before the main election yesterday, we saw an uptick in some political operations by both political parties. And yet again, we, as compared to Musa Dankwa, we use a very smaller sample size, which is always an issue of contention among posters as to the level of sample size you should use. And so those key issues all played into the final outcome for us. But the most important issue was our ability to call the elections for the NDC candidate, taking into consideration the perceived biases, which has greeted our polls since we began to announce them. And so for us, we'll continue to engage in such work. We'll let the data speak, and just like Musa Dankwa, we'll wait for time to vindicate the data we put out there.
I mean, talking about the MPP, they are quite skeptical about some of these predictions. We know how they react to Musa Dankwa polls. I'm sure similar sentiments, you receive similar sentiments when you, release your polls. What can the party do? Because it looks like Ablekuma rerun, they lost. Akwatia by-election, they've lost. And already people are raising concerns that the party has not properly rebuilt as the officials are claiming.
I think the first point of contact for the party, everybody in the party, is to do some form of reflection. They must first and foremost admit that these are not normal times. They are not at the best of places. And they must take such polling results and analysis in good faith and reach out to their base of their party and try and really understand why they react to certain issues and why they vote or in various directions. Because if you look at the exit poll that Musa Dankwa plays out there, a very huge percentage of the voters were NPP voters. But when you look at the final polling result, the final result as declared by the EC, there is some variance in terms of the actual decision that was taken by voters in when they went into the booth. So the party must start from a point of reflection. Admit that the current systems they have in place, the current perception Ghanaians have about the party, the current measures, and the way manner in which they conduct themselves is not the best for the development of the nation. It's not even the best. It's not something that Ghanaians accept it to be so. When they start from that point, they will definitely and clearly see what is wrong and the decisions they have to take for the betterment of their party.
What about the NDC though? They seem to be cruising. They seem to be doing very well at this point. I'm not sure and it's almost giving them an indication that the 2028 election will be an easy peasy for them.
So the fundamental issue here for the NDC is that one, they're enjoying their honeymoon period in government. They still have some goodwill still moving around. But if you look at the outcome of the election and the kind of effort they placed into it, you realize a certain decline in their numbers, especially if you look at the energy they brought to Ablekuma and the kind of energy and reception they got when they got into Akwatia. It should send a certain signal to them that when it comes to political operations, political seasons, your goodwill faced easily by certain actions and inactions that government appointees, political operatives engage in. And yet again, we saw some conduct they put out during yesterday's by-elections. I mean, issues of violence, issues of some reported cases of intimidation and some reported cases of voter influence here and there. All these contribute to the greater picture of how they are going to perform in the upcoming 2028 election. But key thing for them is to note that they are going to be judged fundamentally by how they perform in governance, and they must take their governance process very serious.
Atana, thank you very much for your time this morning, and really appreciate your input on the show. Well, I understand you can just hang in there briefly for me because I'll come to you. I just want to hear from Honorable Fuseni now. Honorable Fuseni, I mean, you just heard from the pollsters. They were clear that your party was going to win, and in your camp, we've heard from your officials, they had similar sentiment. But the big question for me is, where does the party go from here?
Yeah, so as a party, we just won a very massive elections. The NDC is not a type that takes things for granted. So we believe in proper organic feedbacks. And Akwatia being a swing constituency is one of the best areas for a proper test of feedback from Ghanaians. 8 months into our administration, how do Ghanaians really feel about us? And Akwatia being a swing constituency was the best place to actually feel the actual sentiment of Ghanaians there, because that is a place that is always swinging. Now it is 5 for the NDC, 5 for the MPP. You get it? So it's not a typical constituency where somebody can say it's a stronghold for the MPP or it's a stronghold for the NDC.
Yeah.
But it's a place that they actually vote based on your message and the personality you put there as an MP. That is Akwatia for you. So for us, it is something that was supposed to actually get us to, one, not look complacent, two, to also get us a proper feedback to actually motivate us going forward into our administration. What are we doing right? What are we doing well? What are we?
You think it was? You think it was? What do you call it? It was a test of the party's performance so far in government.
Yes, for me that was one of the most cardinal KPIs that we went into these elections with. One, because we needed to actually know how do they actually feel. Is there hope? And clearly the result shows that, yes, they have hope that, listen, we can do something better. And that is what they voted for. Because it was like, we want jobs, we want good standard of living, we want amenities, we want social amenities. Those were the things they were clamoring for. So the hope His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama wants to bring to Ghana is actually sinking in. You get it? So the result actually showed that, listen, they still have hope that, listen, when given the chance, you can, His Excellency's government can actually deliver. But that's what they voted for.
How do you respond to the argument that if indeed the performance of the government was loud enough and the people were feeling it, why did you need all these, what do you call it, government machinery on ground? Chief of Staff was campaigning. I mean, we understand he was there pretty much an entire week. You had the entire national executives of the party there. Ministers of State were there. If the goodwill of the government, you know, was as high as you put it, it should have, I mean, it should have come easy for you. But the amount of work you put
that's why, if you listen to me earlier on, I told you we don't take things for granted.
Because you want to be complacent.
The Ghanaian voter, apart from feeling so much stressed with lack of basic amenities and the rest, one thing the Ghanaian voter abhors is arrogance. So it will come as being arrogant or being like taking them for granted if we say, oh, let the regional executives handle it, let the candidate himself handle it. Dr. Baumia was there. Almost all the presidential aspirants of the NPP were there. What were they also doing there? But at least it's courteous enough, it's respectful enough for the chief of staff, who actually hails from that region, to actually go there and speak to them, to show them that kind of respect. At least he also picks the feedback from the people himself. So it is just a culture of respect to the people. It's just a way of letting them know, listen, it is not just about the election. We are also here. Things that you feel like telling us, tell us to the face. So it is not about...
What about, I mean, we saw certain things happen while the election was ongoing, and we saw it on our platform here on Joy Prime, just around 1 p.m. thereabout, even in the early, late hours of the morning into the early hours of the afternoon. We saw road construction going on. We saw machines on roads, leveling the grounds, and people were asking, of all days that you could do this, why did you have to do it on the day of election and also at a point when people were voting? Some of these road exercises were done close to polling centers.
Well, I think that was one of just, because now the district assemblies all have this road heavy equipment for road construction. The drip machines are with all the district assemblies. So if the assembly felt that one of the biggest complaints or one of the biggest demands from the people of that particular area was the bad, and that particular road was one of the terrible roads in Akwatia. So if they said it and they said, we need this road fixed, and they decided, okay, listen, let's even get it done now.
I could have done it a week before.
Well, could have, but that is what they also wanted, to show that, listen, we are not just promising you we will do it after the election. We are even doing it now.
And wasn't that a subtle vote?
Well, every party goes into their elections with their strategies. And kudos to the DCE. That was a smart move. Whether it paid off or not, it was a smart move. The people needed the thing, you got it done. The president was in the office yesterday, working. He could have also absented himself because there was a by-election. So by-election doesn't stop any work from. And let's be very sincere. This is one of the by-elections that government projects were not unleashed on the people in a hurried manner just to show them we are doing something.
YEA was registering people for the apprenticeship program. DVLA commissioned their office just within 2-3 days before the election.
Can you compare that to what's happened in Asen North? Can you compare even
the
what happened in it's not even quarter of what happened in Asen North? You remember?
Understand, Musa Dankwa, the man who indeed is being vindicated time and time again, has joined us. But Mr. Musa Dankwa, before I come to you, let me just wrap up with Nathaniel Alpha quickly. Nathaniel, just a quick point on the activities the government was involved in, and if beyond the polls, you also sense it that if these things had not been done, they might have lost the seat. Did you get that indication for which reason they had to make some of these interventions in the last minute?
Well, in a by-election, you, as a political party seeking to win the contest, you must always engage in activities that will make it easier for you to win your elections. 8 months into government, it is key that you demonstrate to the people your ability to bring some form of development to them. Note that the circumstances under which they lost their MP, they will always be looking for that extra factor for which they should swing in a certain way or manner. The best message in every political context is the message of bringing development to the voters. So the NDC was spot on the various activities they engage in to ensure they win the by-election.
Well, Nat, thank you very much for your time this morning. Let me go to Musa Dankwa now. Musa Dankwa, in your pre-election reports, you gave us a sense of what the people said they wanted and will inform their voting on the day. And I'm sure we'll project that very soon on the screen. The blue bars that you shared with us. And top of it was development. The people said they wanted development. It was top of the needs that they, shared with you. And you've done your exit polls, etc. To what extent did that, again, influence their voting based on the exit poll that you have also done?
Well, thank you very much. It did influence a lot. In the exit poll, about 50% of the voters were saying development was top on their mind. And that was about 8 points higher than the previous or the final poll, which meant that it played more important role in the actual elections than it did in the exit poll. Now, if you disaggregate this data, you will notice that nearly 40% of MPP voters were mentioning developmental projects themselves. And for the NDC voters, it was about 60%. And the floating voters, about 60%. So the floating voters, the NDC people, and to some extent, MPP voters were all asking for development. And that may have swayed the election in the NDC's favor.
Interesting. I mean, even beyond the development, there were a few other interesting dynamics that you uncovered. Care to share some of those with us?
Yes. One is the dynamics of the Akwatia kind of demographic. Quite a big number of senior high and tertiary level education. This is something very, very unusual for Akwatia constituency, which is known to be mining town. So even though the notion is that it's mining town, they are doing Kalamse, the people who vote there are actually very educated and elite to some extent. So in picking a candidate, you should bear in mind the demography of people you have in the constituency, and that should inform the decision that you take.
But so how does the literacy rate of the people there, influence the voting pattern to some extent, based on what you found out?
If you put up two candidates, and one is inferior in terms of intellectual levels and how he carries himself in the among the people, clearly it will show up. You have a lawyer coming face to face with a minor, a businessman, a minor, in the country that's highly educated. Come on, you don't expect me to go and vote for somebody that doesn't reflect who I am. So that was what really drove the numbers as well. In addition to that, look, Ernest Kumi won the last election with the help of at least 13% of NDC voters. And this is the mistake political parties do all the time. When you win an election, the number you get is not just your MPP or NDC members. No, there is a coalition of people from MPP, NDC, and floating voters. In yesterday's election, about 16% of people who in 2020 voted for Ernest Kumi switched their vote to Beidou. And these guys were largely the NDC guys who were voting for Ernest Kumi in 2024. They didn't find the need for them to do so again. And then coupled with a bit of MPP people who showed up and turned their back against their own candidate.
I mean, that's a very fascinating point, really fascinating point. I mean, because even when you look at the Ghana Statistical Service, 77% of the people in Akwatia are literate. But then you cast your mind to when Amasei, for instance, won the election in that constituency, and you're wondering if the literacy rates did influence their decision this time around. To what extent did it also reflect when they chose Amasei, who was relatively, an uneducated person? Or you're going to say the dynamics in every election is different?
Look, it is very important we understand demography at all times. In 2016, remember, there was no free education. So between 2016 and 2024, a lot more young people have attended senior high school. So the demography that was there in 2016 isn't the same that we have in Akwatia today. So things have changed, and we are still thinking that Akwatia is the same Akwatia. If you put Amasei today, she will lose. Yes.
Interesting.
And in fact, we put her as a scenario in the NDC race. She was losing against the two NDC candidates.
Wow.
Except against Bachiado, who was probably very unpopular. So things have changed, and our politicians think that things are the same.
I mean, interesting. Let me bring Honorable Hussein in now, because he's been listening to you and nodding his head. I mean, how do you react to some of the things he says? The extent to which the literacy rate influenced this election. It talks about the needs of the people and the extent to which it's influenced, the voting pattern in this very by-election. Did this come to you as a surprise?
Okay, so sincerely speaking, on our side, what we picked exactly was the reason why we went into a competitive election. Because we realized that the dynamics in Akwatia, aside every other thing, the person you put up for election, especially on the parliamentary, was key in Akwatia. No doubt about that. They normally vote on personalities in the parliamentary elections rather than party. Yes, history has that. So we were very sure of what candidates we wanted to present, because these are the dynamics, especially when it comes to the MPP side. Those two camps have really not been able to fix themselves yet. The Amasei and the Ernest Kumi camp.
Yeah. And we understand it explains why they went for the Asumedu.
What they were trying to do was that they intentionally went for somebody in Amasei's camp. And you realize the Ernest Kumi side got offended. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So if you realize it was the Ernest Kumi's family that actually brought the invitation to General to come for the funeral. They brought official invitation to the NDC to come for the funeral.
Wait, you mean the General Asedin Ketia's appearance at the funeral?
It wasn't just a fluke, or he just went there. No, he was officially invited by the family.
And you suspect that was symbolic of what?
Yes, to let them know that they were not happy about the choice. The Ernest Kumi camp wanted a replacement from their side.
Okay.
And so if there was a competitive election, maybe somebody from the Wenchi side would have gone through.
And they wanted to inherit
Yes.
their person fundamentally.
Because initially they felt this. Ernest won in some polling stations with some margins that this particular time they lost most of those margins. And you realize that some places that our candidate in 2024 was struggling, this time Bediako appreciated, at times even tripled some of the results. He even tripled some of the results in some of polling stations. So you realize that most of the Ernest Kumi guys didn't fully come on board.
But look at the fear the MPP had they opened this up for primaries, that they generated a conflict that they couldn't resolve.
They were pushed between the devil and the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
Because if they had opened up for a competitive election, Ernest Kumi's side would have won.
And they wouldn't have been able to resolve it.
And they wouldn't have been able to get the Amase guys also coming fully on board. So, yes, we saw those things there. That is why we decided, listen, go for a competitive. Because if we had also just chosen somebody, we didn't know how it was going to pan out. So we wanted the best candidate to step forward. And the secretary of the constituency happened to be the person who actually got the highest votes in the contest. And luckily for us, we were able to unite all our people immediately after the election. So the most...
would you say it was a bit easier for you to unite your people? Because the point is that you're in government. If you contested and you lost the elections and you're going to go, throwing tantrums, of course you might be denying appointments.
It started, but the conflict resolution mechanism in the NDC is a bit stronger, even in opposition, than I can say for my brothers.
Well, let me just mention that Mr. Benjamin Gyewu Appiah has joined us now, is a member of the MPP. He's joined us now. Ben, good morning. Good to have you.
I'm happy to be here. This is home.
Yeah, great. Good to have you. I'm just going to come to you very shortly, but I want to pick Mr. Dankwa's thoughts on this very dynamics as far as the choice of the MPP candidate was concerned and exactly what they were facing, for which reason they decided to, handpick a candidate. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Look, I think they should have gone for a competitive race. At least if they had wanted somebody to win, they could have still used the system to support him to win. They know how to do that. So they can silence the other critics who may say that there was no competition, even if it's a bit unfair. Competition is always good. Now, they had all the time. Was somebody the best they can pick, even if they want to handpick somebody. Clearly, they misunderstood the Akwatia constituency. Mining town, so they thought the mining is everything. Mining is everything. The guys are Galamsey. The influx of people working in Akwatia who are doing Galamsey are not Akwatia voters. So on the face of it, they are doing Galamsey and mining, so they are miners. No. The poll has shown that these people are senior high and tertiary level qualification holders. And they're not the ones in the pits doing the Galamsey. So that was the first mistake they made. That's why they even picked Owo as the candidate, because they thought they were giving them one of their own. But he wasn't one of their own. Well, the real people of Akwatia have senior high and tertiary education, more than 60-something%.
And interesting, the Ghana Statistical Service, data on Akwatia as far as the employment categories are concerned, it has quite a number of them in services. Then it has a number of them also in agriculture. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, comparatively, the number of people in mining in Akwatia, as you say, are few. Much more in agriculture and even a greater number in services, in the services industry.
Maybe this is a very good lesson for all the political parties. Next time they are picking someone, they should go to GSS, pick the data, look at the polling data, and see who is in Akwatia.
Interesting. Let me bring Gyewu in because he's with the MPP, and I'm just curious how you and the party have received this defeat.
Well, Razak, a very good morning to you and Very good morning to Honorable Fuseni Donko as well, your cherished viewers. And then to Musa Donko as well. I think he has extensively done a very good job with regards to the predictions in Akwatia. We were very positive with the Akwatia by-elections, I would say. And I must admit that sometimes we do not always get it right? It's about time that we, as a people or as a party, go into the internal details of researching and then come out, stronger, with some of these things. I'll probably say that yesterday's by-election, at a point, I would also say there was an abuse of incumbency. If you look at videos that were circulating online, where Honorable Collins Dauda has said, captured live on video, to have said that if the people of Akwatia wouldn't vote for the NDC, there was not going to be any development. And you can clearly see
if he was the president.
If he was the president, he's a leading member of the MP.
If he was the president,
that's fine. Yeah. He is somebody that is very close to President Mahama. And in any case, if the NDC had lost the election, I would tell you that Collins Dauda would have advised the president not to send any development to Akwatia.
But based on your preliminary assessment, why do you think the MPP lost the seat?
And that's what I'm telling you. Very confident. That's another angle. They went there earlier than we did, okay? And they started with some of these strategy, like that, if you don't vote for this current government, we are in power. And if you do not vote for us, I can tell you your roads, your hospitals, and all other, infrastructural programs that are going on in your constituency is going to stall. And that's exactly what they did. That is a clear strategy, and I must commend them on that.
Well, why couldn't you counter that strategy?
Well, you see, it's very important that we go down, memory lane. There's been over about 30 by-elections, if I'm right, and if I'm wrong, maybe...
About 33 by-elections so far.
Musa Damka can obviously correct me on that. The abuse of incumbency or the advantage of incumbency sometimes takes a very key role with that. And I know Honorable Fuseni Donko knows about it. Remember in 2019, when the Honorable Ejaku left, there was a by-election at Ayowasu West Wagon.
Yeah.
He played to our incumbency, played to our advantage, and Lydia Sarah Malasan became the member of parliament, right? There's been several of them in 2012 similar. You understand? And I wanted to go down and say, and I also have another problem with vote buying. The NDC is becoming a very notorious party in these recent, days. We've had a whole regional minister, the Greater Accra regional minister, Oklo, tell us that when it comes to election, the NDC is capable of buying votes. And clearly yesterday, all over social media, your outlets and your sister stations also brought it out that some section of the leading NDC members were in the queue in some electoral areas buying votes.
Well, same reports captured some of your officials.
Well, not that I know of.
Yeah,
not that I know of. I haven't seen any video, and we must be very subjective when it comes to some of these things. Clearly, Razak, the ones that were circulating via social media were, and those, if I can remember vividly, were Mustafa Bandi, Honorable Yamin, and some other people. Look, if we really want to continue on this tangent, I believe that, it's not going to help us as a nation. What I want to believe is that if we want fair play, just like football, there are tenets that we need to all come together to agree on. Vote buying and abuse of incumbency and all of those, strategies are not good for us. But what I want to say at the end is that the whole election I would say generally, I would commend the Ghana Police Service for this one. It's better than Ablekuma. At least we didn't have any flying jet li, in the air and all that. They've done a very good job. Well, I am only sad that the people of Akwatia did not remember Ernest Kumi, member of parliament, a sitting member of parliament that had won credibly over 2,000 votes and then sent to court by the same government. He never had his peace after winning the Akwatia seat. In fact, Ernest Kumi had contested about 3 times.
The people decided to change their mind about who they want to represent them.
But that's why I'm saying that I am really sad. Ghanaians are very emotional people. Remember what happened in 2012 when the then sitting president, President Mills, died? They played on sympathy, then allowed President Mahama to continue. So I was thinking that, we sometimes adore the dead.
But wasn't that your challenge? And that's what some people have criticized you for, that you basically had no message in Akwatia. You were just looking to play the sympathy card. You're just telling the people, we've lost Ernest Kumi, he was the MP, and we need to replace him. You were playing the sympathy card. And they were talking about development. And the people, the data shows, the people wanted development.
Well, you see, Ernest Kumi, the NDC had won Akwatia more than we have.
No,
if we look,
it's now parity.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You had won 5 and we won 4.
Okay.
So now it's 5-5.
So what kind of development are they talking about?
Roads
and other things. I understand. When Baba Jamal was there, what did he do for them?
You were there 8 years.
Okay, so I think Amase came in, right?
Yeah.
And then we lost to the NDC.
Yeah.
And then Ernest Kumi came in.
Yeah.
So it's a swing area. We must admit that.
But your party was in government for 8 years.
That is
basic roads in the area were not constructed.
There are certain areas, if you look at the demographics in some of the electoral areas, and you map them out, where there is a swing constituency, it doesn't matter the development that you send there. It decides or it behooves on the people on the kind of person that they want them to lead.
Honorable Hussein, you have been accused of vote buying. and of course, also a concern about incumbency advantage.
If you let me land on that one.
All right, just
Akwatia is a swing constituency.
Yeah.
And so if they are saying that there hasn't been any development, Ernest Kumi just came in. His predecessor was an NDC member, right? He took over from an NDC member. What did they do for them?
So you starved him because he was in opposition.
But
because government. But President Akufo-Addo was in power.
Of course,
the MP is limited on what he can do ordinarily.
Yeah.
It's the state resources that come to develop.
One of the things that we must educate the public is that the MP is not in charge for development of the area.
Great.
It is important that we separate that fact from any other fact. That the people are beginning to always burden the MP. The MP or member of parliament, as we all know, as enshrined in the constitution, is somebody that helps in making laws for the constituent or for the country.
I think based on the letter of the constitution, yes, but based on the promises they make, and of course, we had the promises.
And that is why there needs to be.
And we had the promises that Honorable Husseini
there needs to be a conversation, a new narrative on that one.
Exactly, the promises that Honorable Husseini and his team made on grounds which guarantee them the election. Honorable Husseini, I'm going to hear from you, react to what he said. Mr. Musa Dankwa, also hear from you. But I just want us to hear from Minister Bernard after he was declared winner. And you get a sense of what he was saying. He said the MP is not... You hear, he was talking about development, the fact that he's going to bring development to the people. If that is ready, we can hear from him now. All right, great. We'll bring you that sound. But after he was declared by the EC, he said, I'll bring development to you. They go outside what the Constitution mandates them to do and bring this burden upon themselves. But you've been accused of abusing your incumbency. How do you respond?
Let me quickly, yes, I can understand my brother because it would have been very difficult for me to come here this morning as well if we had lost especially when we did all the emotional blackmailing and it didn't work. So, yes, he's allowed to mourn. So, some of the punches, yes, I will take them in good faith.
All right, just before you let's hear from the, the new MP of Akwatia after he was declared winner now.
After his overwhelming victory.
I told you guys that we've been in this game for a while. If you are in it and you are losing, you will know, except maybe if you don't want to be honest to yourself. I told you what we were working out at that moment I spoke to was with regards to the gap. But as for the win, what are we witnessing? We've won. We are grateful for the opportunity the people of Akwatia has given us. It is a clear mandate, and we would not take it for granted. We will make sure we give them the best of representation and serve them well.
Supporters of the NDC's candidate hit the streets in jubilant mode after he was officially declared winner.
So he promised to bring development. Yeah, just land there. And you can see the burden on his head now, because as much as we know it, the fact that your party is in government will not guarantee your roads being fixed in the next 4 years.
No, thankfully, I have been a DCE before. So I know when there is a good collaboration between an MP and a DCE, it's a recipe for development. So for me, much of the work will not be on Bedu's neck. It is the DCE that must work to prove all the promises of Bedu. Because one, yes, MPs may not be development authorities, but they are development agents. One of the cardinal jobs of an MP is to lobby for development to the area. Because you are in Accra, you sit in the chamber with your colleague who are ministers. You get it? So, even in this current regime, I don't know about the MPP, but in this current regime, every MP has unfettered access to ministries. You don't join the queue, you don't need to book appointments, all you need is to walk in. And every ministry you go now, there is a clear instruction that MPs are not supposed to come and sit and wait. When they come, they walk in straight to the minister. So the job of the MP now is to make sure, draw the road minister's attention to the roads in your area. Whilst the little roads, the feeder roads that the drip machines can fix, the DC together with you, the MP, you get those ones fixed. But those that need, road ministry to go into, those ones, you draw the road minister's attention, you drag the DCE along. That is what is done. And the job of the DCE now is that every school in the area you are going to construct, it is Bedu and Jomahama who did it. Every health center you are going to construct is Bedu and Jomahama who did it.
Yeah.
Even if you go to funeral grounds and you are donating, Honorable MP says, I should bring you this. If the DC doesn't do that, then he's a suspect. Because that is the only way you can cushion your MP.
So the point about the DC and the MP having a good relationship is very important. Because if you don't have a good relationship,
that is why you see MPs taking center stage in every DCE appointment. Because if you don't get your person there, you are finished.
You might have somebody who is coming to contest.
That is why I say if you don't get your person there, you are finished. Because it is easier for the DCE to topple an MP. Because the DCE interacts more closer with the people than you, the MP.
He lives there every day.
Yes. And he's the first point of contact in any government business. So the people go to him much more than you there. And like I said, it is the DC who construct the schools, the roads, the markets, the hospitals, the boreholes, everything. He has been given the budget to do that. All the MP gets is an MP's common fund, which is like 1/10 of the district assembly's common fund. It's not even up to 1/10. So what you, the DC, can do is to cushion the MP. Whatever you do, you get him along. Whatever you implement, you attach his name to it. And then whatever he's also able to lobby from Accra, you join hands. So it will come to a point, whatever you do there, people will know it is the MP who is doing it.
I mean, let's just touch also on some incidents that happened in the election. It has to do with your vice chairman, Mr. Azoka, and his posturing at a point in the election. And also, Jay was talking about security and how the police did their work in the area. I mean, by and large, were you impressed with the security operations?
Oh, I think when it comes to security arrangements, this time, you know, thumbs up to him. He was very proactive.
Yeah.
Akwatia is not a timid constituency. They can be very reactive if you push them to the wall. So I'm impressed with their intelligence-led operation. They were able to, actually, the presence of police does two things. To ensure confidence, to also prevent, crime from being committed. So their domineering presence also scared away a few troublemakers. Yes, I can understand my brother when he went into the area of vote by whatever. Yes, they have to get a justification for their defeat. The truth is that they got...
It's just an excuse they give.
Yeah, it's just an excuse.
It happened.
It's just an excuse. It's just an excuse.
He knows it.
Because what was happening doing there? What was he doing there?
He was monitoring the election.
Morning white tree.
It's one of his...
Let's go on.
I mean, he's the leader of the minority parliament.
It didn't work.
He was a leader of the minority.
They went there to also pay. It didn't work.
True.
The truth is that they chose the wrong candidates. That is the fact. They went about their choice wrongly. And that is what they got wrong right from the beginning. Then they realized their candidate was not even assertive enough. Then they decided to go the emotional blackmail. But the election was not about emotional campaign. It was about, so you realize from his speech that all they were doing was an emotional campaign because they thought, oh, Ghana, about 60% of the votes when it comes to replacement in terms of demise is always sympathy. So they were banging their hopes on the sympathy, and it didn't work. You get it? So that is the fact. Then the other aspect, yes, there were some issues.
That was unfortunate by
very, very, very unfortunate because I expected the two elders to have known better. Because Buga, yes, is a northerner, Chairman Azoka, they are all from one place.
Yeah.
Buga is your junior brother. Yes, Buga, seeking for re-elections, wants to position himself in the MPP as the one who can face the NDC. It's a strategy he's trying to adopt. Otherwise, these people, he doesn't have money. They won't vote for him until they feel that, yes.
How do you know he doesn't have money?
That is the strategy.
How do you know he doesn't have money?
Buga doesn't have.
He doesn't.
How do you know he doesn't
He
have
cannot
money?
pay when it comes to the MPP elections. So he has
not
to
true. Elections not
position
even about
himself.
money.
But how do you
In
know?
MPP is about money.
It's not even about money. What
Then
are
why
you saying?
is
Honorable
Brian Champion getting more followers than
What are you talking about?
It's about money when it
Why
comes
is
to
the narrative about election always going on that tangent?
Take it in good faith. You were throwing punches. I just kept quiet. You see, but the fact of the matter is that it was very unfortunate, especially the comments from our chairman, yes.
Yeah, especially, you know, concerning
some of the
minority
utterances,
leader, you know, when the minority leader came
I think
there.
it was overboard. Yes, in the heat of elections, yeah, at times you go...
You think an apology from him will be for his comments will be right?
I also believe some of these things we should just blacklist it and let it die because even repeating it becomes a bit offensive. Seriously.
No, not repeating it, but apologizing for the conduct.
Oh, yeah.
And moving on.
For me, it wasn't even up to the person you were dealing with because they spoke their language. I don't know what...
No, I'm even concerned
said.
about the comment about the minority leader, Afenyo Makin.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
No, for those ones, Afenyo Makin has promised to take it up because he feels it was a threat to him. So, yes, he
That could be easily resolved if he...
That's what I'm saying. Yes, for me, sincerely speaking, I believe our vice chairman went overboard, especially some of the comments. It's not good for children listening. And some of the things, he even had to say it in English, were very, very unpalatable. Yes, I can't speak the Dagomba. I'm a Konkomba.
Yeah.
I can't speak the Dagomba. But some of the, I don't know what Buga also said in their language that provoked him. Because he realized Buga said something. Then he responded in their language. Then again, he got ballistic because I don't know what he said though. But whatever it was unpalatable.
All right, let me bring Musa Dankwa in now on the future of MPP, what it is that the MPP need to do, because at this point the concern is that this election is another testament to the fact that MPP has not truly restructured, has not truly reorganized itself and positioned itself for any competitive elections. Talk of 2028. I mean, from where you sit, what does this election signal as far as MPP's reorganization process and all of that is concerned?
You know, I'm trying to avoid being a mere commentator on political issues. There are people who are more astute than I am in terms of strategy going forward. But one thing I can always say, or I will say to any political party, is that research must be at the core of everything they do. It doesn't matter what. Research, data. You may not be happy with what you see from the findings, but it's an uncomfortable truth. And you must face the reality. If you allow data to drive whatever you do in communication, in strategy, I think you'll be better off. You don't poo-poo data because you don't like it. You don't insult data aggregators or who present data because you don't like the data. Just work with it.
And really interesting, really interesting. But I mean, as far as concerns about money in our election is concerned, I mean, money played a big part even in this by-election. It played a huge part in this by-election, and we're expecting that it will continue to play a big part in successive, elections. But there's still concerns about how much we keep pumping into elections, the role money is playing in our elections, and it's increasingly becoming, difficult to control. I mean, is there anything we can do about it?
Look, it is high time our political leaders understand that you can't buy votes, you can't buy voters. That has been shown in, I think, Ejisu. It was evident in Asen North. Indeed, those who took money from people voted against them. So I don't know why they keep doing that. I mean, money, yes, you spend money operationally, but to do that money to voters doesn't give you anything. It will actually cause your defeat if you don't take care. You know, there are certain times that they do money to people so that they can encourage them to go and vote. But maybe he's going to vote NPP or NDC anyway, and the money you are giving him just to entice him to go out and vote. But he will not change his vote because of the money. A survey we did last year showed that only 7% took money and switched their vote. Only 7%. So that doesn't pay, and we haven't learned any lessons yet. Even doing projects in terms of by-election, rushing to do things cost you. And indeed, we had information that the NDC was doing something similar in Akwatia, and to be very honest, it cost them a bit. But because they have won, you really can't see the effect. But people were telling us in the field, in the exit poll, that they got pissed by what NDC was doing.
And by what they're doing, what were they talking about? What exactly were they referring
to? They gathered equipment and were doing certain rules in certain places before the by-election. Similar to what was done in Asen North. I mean, these guys don't learn.
Really interesting points there. But I'm just curious, though, as far as MPP's primaries is concerned in January, do you think in any way at all this election might influence that primaries? Because there are those who are already basing the outcome of this election to make certain arguments about some of the aspirants.
Look, we can't use Akwatia to infer anything as to what is going to happen in the MPP primaries. The poll has shown that in the Akwatia area, I think Baumia is the one that is leading, but the gap is not that significant compared to where Kennedy Ejapon is. Akwatia will not determine anything and this MPP is going to do in the future, not at all.
But what about the effectiveness of the national executives? Because we know you did a certain poll on that. Do you think this is going to also influence that? Because, I mean, this election was on their hands and it looks like they failed again.
I think it put to test their effective communication strategy that they've adopted over the years. And the apparent disregard to data in things that they have been doing in recent times. And to the reverse to using data and kind of communicating based on data, I think they will always be shooting over the bar.
All right, great. Honorable Dankwa, thank you very much, and thank you for the work you keep doing. Hopefully, we're looking forward to your next poll. What is it going to be? What's your next, exercise going to be on?
The next poll is going to be the national tracking poll, which measures the governance issues we have. And also we'll delve into the party's primaries, who voters prefer or would prefer to lead MPP and NDC. And then we are going to take the top NDC candidates who are getting 10% of national vote against people who are getting 10% at least in MPP's primaries. Put them head to head and see who is the best to meet to face each other in 2028. That will be fascinating.
Yeah, interesting. I'll be very interested in seeing how the work that the General Secretary, the Chairman, General himself, the work he did, because he was on grounds a lot, and he was probably the only candidate, let me say, name that has been mentioned as a potential successor to Joe Mahama, who was active on grounds. I would be curious to see how that might, help him in his bid, if indeed he officially announced his interest to contest that. So we'll see. It will be an interesting area, wouldn't it be?
Very interesting. I think the NDC race will be the most interesting one we're going to cover next year. And I hope we're not going to disappoint our followers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dankwa, for your time this morning. Well, Gyewu, I'm going to come to you about the future of your party, how your party can move on from this. There are those who have started making case that, look, this shows that Dr. Bawumia cannot lead the party, that Kenneth Japon is the one who should lead the party. And there are those who are saying that this is the biggest statement that they need to change the entire national executive because they failed in this very,
That's
assignment.
I agree.
On this very assignment, okay? And the fact that the MPP, their decision to even do the primaries in January, this very exercise further buttressed the point that it is a misplaced priority at this point. I want you to react to that, but let me just pick some messages, and if it is ready, we can, pick some messages right now, and get to you for your comment on that. All right, so the messages are ready now. Let me just see what people have been saying here. Okay, this is Teacher Kwejo. Maybe let me start from here. Okay, Teacher Kwejo. It says, over the years, by-elections Ghana have mostly been won by the ruling government. So it is no news at all when the MPP was in power after winning the 2000 election. It won the Bimbilla constituency by-election, a seat then occupied by Ibn Chambers of NDC. By-elections mostly favor the ruling government because of certain factors such as heavy vote buying, among others. The MPP should take heart, get back to the drawing board, and put its house in order for the bigger elections ahead in 2028. Greetings to Honorable Eric Nana Ajeman Prempe, MP for Ahafo North. This one said, Mr. Host, is this not the man who said that NDC will win the 2024 election? Let me see. Interesting. Let me see. Well, I don't know if Gyewu is the one, but...
He's the one. Anyway, he has apologized.
I understand he has apologized for that, so we can move on. Akonsi Gariba from Tamale. It says, President Mahama is the opposite of true democracy in Ghana. How can President Mahama sack the Chief Justice Tokono for the mere fact that she had traveled with a husband with funds that she's entitled to? Those who are not supporting the sacking of the Chief Justice should be prepared to support another sacking of a Chief Justice when the table stands, because President Mahama had set the precedent. Well, we discussed the Chief Justice yesterday, and hopefully we'll get to do more of that in our subsequent, discussion. So, but bring your messages on Akwatia. Let's hear from you what you make of the Akwatia by-elections. This one says, Al-Hassan Say from Zenu Central. Good morning to everyone. Let them say kudos to the good people. Let me say kudos to the good people of Akwatia for voting massively for Lawyer Bernard of the MPP and DC. In fact, they have really shown what is good for, they really know what is good for them and what they want. As for the MPP, since they decided to keep Honorable Afenyo-Markin as their micro-minority leader in Parliament, their numbers will continue to dwindle because his posture and actions will continue to annoy Ghanaians, and before the MPP will realize Afenyo-Markin is not a leader, it will have been too late. Okay, well, they are blaming Afenyo-Markin for the loss in Akwatia. This one says, this MPP man on TV, he promised, He said he didn't honor his promise. Tell his social media will not forget him. And then the MPP guys promised to resign as MP. That's Honorable Bearfeet. But he says here, okay, I think I've missed some message, right? Okay, this one says, Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. Good morning, my brother. I dare the MPP in your studio to give us evidence of vote buying in Akwatia by the NDC. It's all lies. The MPP as a political party has no message going in for the Akwatia to the Akwatia by-elections. The MPP is simply refusing to learn from their mistakes. A small group of people in the party have hijacked the party and are doing all they want. They handpick the candidates. The handpicked candidates affected them, and members of the MPP punished them for that because they were not happy with the decision taken by the few group of people who have hijacked the party. When Honorable Yamin and Mustafa Gbande were on the field working, they were in Accra organizing press conferences. I am surprised to even see the MPP man in your studio because people, they've missed you, that's Appiah. This one says, I'm Big Alaska from Garu, Tempani, and my greetings to all the youth in Tempani constituency. We thank God for a peaceful by-election in Akwatia. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. I want to find out about the MPP repping. Is he not the one who said? I think I'll just leave you to respond to that. Because, but anyway, you people continue to remind us.
What would they gain from seeing him bend himself?
I mean, what would they gain from seeing him?
I think you are right. They have missed me. And, it's good to hear from
They said they want to confirm. Were you the one?
Well, actually, I am. Like, you know, in the heat of the 2024 election, I think it got better out of me to see all of those things. But I quickly want to touch on Chairman Buga and Chairman Azoka's case. Actually, I do not know who raised Chairman Azoka. I mean, he's over 60 years old, and he's still with vigilantes.
I mean, that's a bit
you know why? You know why? Because Honorable Hussein Donko has done politics over the years. You never see him with tax. You never see him threatening people and saying he's going to kill somebody.
No, but
yes,
he could have gone off. But
that's what I'm saying. Somebody like Honorable, the late Honorable Omanibuama, brilliant man from the NDC. So I'm saying he's over 60 years. In the next 8 years, I guess it's not even going to be relevant. He doesn't have much strength. Normally, some of these things are left to the youth. They go about with these tags because they have so much energy and strength and like that. You know what I mean? So I'm sincerely shocked.
I think roundly,
over 20 years, 30 years that people know him. He's always been somebody that brings chaos and violence and all that. It's not something that is worth emulating. I'm on the other side, but there are good people on the other side.
That is what Buga is also copying.
You understand? So, you know, if you clearly, Honorable Hussein, if you clearly look at the video, if you clearly look at the video, yeah, he was playing. Chairman Buga was playing, and somebody was even explaining on social media that in the north there's a cultural, you know, reverence, and when your elderly person is talking, you have to give him that respect, even when he's angry. So I think Chairman Buga was trying to exhibit that you are my brother. You know, all of these things, you know, we are doing it in that peaceful manner to bring coherence. But Chairman Buga,
I think it's been roundly condemned
and all that, you know. And then with the minority leader, I think he has to take it on. The Ghana Police Service would have to invite Chairman Azoka on that case that he was going to kill Honorable Afenyo Market.
Well, he didn't say
if you say there's going to be a by-election in his constituency, let's not spice things up.
He could resign.
No, but Honorable Hussein, let's not spice things. It's not good. It's not good for our politics.
Look, my brother, let's not put West.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying.
It's not good.
Why is everybody condemning it then?
Yeah, but
if it was mere whatever, I think nobody would really condemn it. Like, why we are doing that? The most important thing is that what he said was very, very bad, and that he must be called to order. The Peace Council and other, you know, CSOs and other, you know, peace brokers must come in. Chairman Azoka cannot continue on this tangent.
Going for the MPP, how do you move on from here? I mean, this laws has further raised concerns about the party's process to reorganize and all the activities that we lined up, and even now the concerns about misplacement of priorities with your election of flag bearers at this point.
Well, you know, these are hard times, especially when you lose an election. by-elections, Razak, I must admit that in the process of even putting our house together, we have this by-election and, it's hard. Especially when we are dealing with tough opponents like the NDC. They were the beginnings of democracy. They ruled the country for over 20-something years, even before we installed or brought in democracy. With that inception as well, they've ruled for almost about 16 years, right?
Yeah, 8 years under Mills and Mahama, and now Mahama is doing
exactly.
another
So they have a lot of experience. What I would want to say is that we probably have to put our structures together. The national executives, the council of elders, and party foot soldiers, those who matter most, must try. We must try as much as possible to put the house in order. And I believe that we seriously have a chance come 2028 if we can put all this, behind us and then form a formidable team.
Do you think the party should reconsider its plans to hold the flag bearer contest first, even before some of these internal?
Well,
because in Akwatia right now, clearly, these laws will further deepen the wounds in Akwatia, and you need to resolve it as early as possible.
I actually do not really want to go into that, but I actually want to say that the Council of Elders and the party hierarchy has already made a move on that. If it is something that is worth looking into after this post-mortem of an election from Akwatia, then I would want to say that the leaders would have to.
Because you lost the Ablekuma rerun. Of course, you say officially you didn't contest, but we know that you had an interest there, although indirectly, you lost the Ablekuma rerun.
Look, I can tell you, Raza.
You've lost the Akwatia by-election. You've pulled out from Tamale Central.
I can tell you.
Also.
I can tell you that if the NPP was in power, we would have also won all these by-elections.
But you lost enough.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. That, when you go to swing regions, they have all the power to say whatever they want to say. But looking at data and science, it is very, very important that when you compare swing regions to your incumbent or your strongholds, by-elections always sometimes come to whoever it has to come to. It doesn't matter whether or not you are in opposition or you are in power. Akwatia is no exception. You
were 88 in Parliament. Now you are 87. Your numbers are not looking good.
Look, I am saying.
I don't think you will continue to call yourself the mighty minority.
Political party administration sometimes is like football. Like Manchester United, they've had their good days and they're having their hard times.
Like Manchester United?
Of course. These days things are not going well. Like they have to.
So MPP have become like Man United.
I'm only saying that it's become a little bit difficult after our loss, but we have to put the full soldiers and everybody would have to come around, and then we put everything in place. What I would want to say is that we have a lot of work to do, but I can assure the ordinary Ghanaian, I can assure the MPP full soldiers that we are going to put our house in order. We'll keep restructuring. If there are a lot of, there are changes that needs to be done in the coming days, we will definitely do that. I want everybody to rally behind us. We should be united. If not, Honorable Hussein Donkwa and his people, they are very smart.
Well, they
want to always pour fire. More kerosene in our fire.
Those who are saying that. This has it has made a case for Kennedy Japan.
Well, I actually believe that it's all left with delegates to decide.
All right, let me come.
They are the best.
Let me come to Honorable Husseini now. Honorable Husseini, quick reaction to some of this. He says MPPs look like Manchester United at the moment. Manchester United, for lovers of football, know that the club is struggling. It's not in the best of shape. Is your party looking like Chelsea? They are world champions. Or Liverpool, maybe.
Unfortunately, I'm a Chelsea fan. No, I think one thing, let me commend my party executives for, especially our chairman, general chairman, or chairman general, Asedun Ketia, our general secretary, Fifi Kwete, who spent almost the entire last 2 weeks there, Yamin, Mustafa Gbande, Kobi Ballon, the silent submarine. In fact, they did a yeoman's job. They did a very great job. All the others, Yaira Koku, all the others, God bless them. My brother Mahdi as well. In fact, they are, I think wherever Honorable Omani Boama is, God rest his soul, he'll be proud of them.
Rashid Tanko mentioned that
Rashid Tanko,
the plan, the strategy he shared with them was exactly what they implemented.
They stuck to it, and in fact, it worked very well. So they should keep it up. Let's honor the memory of Honorable Omani Boama by doing the right things. Let's not take anything for granted, and that is what the posture I want all government appointees and all party executives. Do not take anything for granted, because the Ghanaian voter is becoming more and more sophisticated as the days goes by. You have no option than to serve them. If you cannot do it, be truthful enough, magnanimous enough to humbly explain why you can't do it. But to lie and become arrogant in power, God forbid. That is not the posture, or that should never be the portion of the NDC. We have no reason to be proud.
Yeah, we're just about to wrap up now, but just before we end, I just want to get your thoughts on this, because I'm sure this story, hopefully, I'm sure tomorrow we might get into it more. The former Chief Justice, Sophia Akufu, has spoken about the removal of the CJ herself, the former CJ, Gertrude Tokonu, and he's described it as the woman was tried as though she had committed a treasonous crime. She called it a rigmarole process. In fact, it's a strong criticism of John Mahama on the removal of CJ. We'll get into it, but just quick thoughts.
I can understand her ladyship, Sophia Akufu, because, yes, understand her, because some of the things Justice Tokonu is being accused of, she did most of them herself.
How do you know
as
that?
CJ. Oh, yeah, when she was CJ, a lot of those things also came in. Those reports were also brought up. People even wrote petition against her.
Yeah, we know about that.
Yes, so she was also caught in most of those things, just that she escaped it. So if that is the standard, then it means she herself is guilty. So she's just defending herself instead of defending Justice Tokonu.
You say you treated her like she had committed treason.
You should understand Honorable her ladyship, Sophia Akufu, because all the things that we are actually maybe accusing the Chief Justice of, she also did like almost 90% of them. So it's just a way of trying to say, this is what we've all been doing, so why are you, if she's guilty, then it means I'm also guilty. So let's make it look as if these are not things you should try. But
we'll get into it.
My brother, the committee brought their report. You see, one thing I don't understand, especially my brothers from the MPP side, is the president swore an oath to uphold the Constitution and the law. The president is following the Constitution and the law, and we say we have a problem with him doing that.
But we'll get more into it. Hopefully, we'll get into it. But quick thoughts on this one, and we'll wrap up.
It's unfortunate. You know, Sophia Akufu is a neutral person. Remember, during our days in power,
the bondholder.
Exactly. She came out and she extensively spilled a lot of, uncomfortable truth. That's how I see her. She's somebody just like Martin Amidu would say it as it is. But you see, the unfortunate thing is the executive is sleeping with the legislature and has really ended up raping the judiciary.
Ouch.
And that is very unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. This is the first time we are having something like that. I mean, she occupied that position. And if she's raising all of these concerns, we must give her audience. No partisan, whatever it is. Let's listen to her. Let's get something out of what she's saying and then look clearly into it and see if it is going to help our democracy. Because, look, I mean, we have become a laughingstock in the glaring eyes of surrounding neighbors of the world. So this president has done a very abominable thing. It's never been heard of. And clearly I can tell you...
He followed the due process. I mean, he followed the process.
Clearly, I mean, like I'm saying, so far Akufo may be right. I mean, all the things that they raised against the former Chief Justice is very, very petty. Doesn't call for a removal at all. And in fact, I am not surprised because the then flag bearer, who happens to be the president of the Republic now, when he was in opposition, campaigned that he was going to get NDC judges to the bench. And how was he going to do that?
Why did he say that?
he said that in campaign, and it's everybody knows this.
That he was going to get NDC
exactly, that NPP judges were on the bench, and that is very dangerous.
I think if there's any argument
look,
and raise that effect, the fact that he promised to cap the judiciary.
I mean, I am saying, he said that. He said that. You can go back and look at the video. He said that he was going to pack or bring more NDC judges on the bench. What I'm trying to say is that this is very dangerous. Look, the soul and cradle of this country resides with the judiciary because it doesn't know MPP, it doesn't know NDC. So, and when we try to politicize some of these things, that is when you will know that the future of this country is very gloomy. We must admit that what the president has done, he has set a dangerous precedent, and I am only afraid that when MPP is in power, may not be able to work with the current acting CJ if he's then appointed
by next year he will go on retirement.
I mean, whoever comes in, whoever has been appointed by this president, I am only afraid that the next government, who happens to be the MPP obviously, may not be able to work with this one.
Doctor, what if you don't come?
I mean, I am saying, there's a precedent that has been set. And we know the political discourse of how things turn out.
He also said
when some of these things happen.
The unprecedented removal of the Electoral Commission chair, and you claim you follow due process.
But you see, with Charlotte Osei's own, we clearly know that it was breach of procurement. Everybody knows.
Dead bodies were even petitioning.
When I read the report,
dead people even petitioning.
When I read the report, that was not supposed to come out. I mean, these are petty things. The president travels around with his son all the time. Don't we see that?
He doesn't pay him per diem.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Do you know? Do you know?
No,
do you know?
Pay him.
Let me take some messages and let's call it a day. Good morning.
Unfortunate.
Okay, so I think I've read this message already. Let me see this one from Mensa Majid from Bechim in Toronto. It says, a very big congratulations to lawyer Bernard Bediako, MP-elect, and to the good people of Akwatia. Honorable Michael Ochubefi, MP for New Job, and should respect his constituents and himself by honoring the promise he made. Since the MPP candidate did not win, we are all waiting for his resignation letter. For the sake of his integrity and the recognition of the respect Ghanaians have for... Hey, Chairman, why are you giving fans like that? He should kindly do the needful by submitting his resignation letter to the Speaker before the close of day. Well, he has apologized for that. He just said it was in the heat of the moment. So, but you guys really expected him to resign. He said, dear host, I'm inclined to believe the MPP isn't desirable, but they don't want to admit the Akwatia by-election is a typical example that the MPP is moribund. The Efenyo Markin-led macro-minority is in Parliament is only staging walkouts and engaging in demonstrations and press conferences. The MPP is no longer attractive. I'm glad that finally Getri Tokono is removed from office to sanitize the judiciary. Getri Tokono was appointed to manipulate the judiciary in favor of MPP. The constitution has been followed. Good morning. Charles Champon Sefi. Okay. This one says, the very people who orchestrated the removal of Charlotte Osei as EC chair forced out 2 deputy commissioners, pushed out Daniel Domolevo as Auditor General, even dismissed High Court judges, cheered and justified those actions at the time. Today, the same group is crying foul and questioning why a Chief Justice has been removed. How much longer must we continue to tolerate this blatant hypocrisy and double standards of the MPP and their folks? MPP, never again. And he said, reset, pa. This one's master planner says, still MPP, and he's got the MPP flag there. It's still with the elephant family. It says, let focus and rebuild with unity to make the party attractive. And I think that's the point Ben was making. Kudos to all leaders who went to Akwatia to support Honorable Solomon and the MPP. We will surely bounce back in 2028, inshallah. Well, Ben, it seems that the sentiment, your point is going down well with your people. Good morning. Is this a...
Tell them you don't have matches and kerosene here.
I've received about 3 messages. Okay, good morning. Okay, all right. Well, I think that's all the message we have from our listeners. Thank you very much for sending the messages. And that's all we have for you on News Flash this morning. Honorable Fusini, thank you so much for coming. Benjamin, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate you. And Musa Dankwa and Nathaniel Alpha, thank you for coming. Well, the News Flash segment was brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Just head to any Franco Trading offices and get yourself very affordable mobile devices, laptops, etc., and the other appliances that you might need. They've got it all. They've got it all. You will be sorted. You will be sorted by them, all right?